I'm Chris Wheeler and I'm running for president on the Stand Up ticket. Stand Up is opposed to cuts to our education. The Stand Up believes that we should mix peaceful activism and peaceful protest with successful lobbying to the senior administration in the university, which I think Stand Up elected office bearers this year, in particular the Stand Up elected president and the Stand Up elected education officer Claire Keys-Liley and Anthony Hayes, have been very effective with. Two of the main things that I would like to do as president next year is continue the fight to have a university or union-run bulk billing medical centre on campus, one that will also have a pharmacy and a medical centre where women can actually request female doctors if needed to be, and one that's accessible to students at all hours that it's meant to be, and one that serves students primarily but also the wider community as well. The second thing that I would personally love to do is begin the process of building a not-for-profit student housing residence. So it's worked in other universities around the country, and it's simply a housing residence on campus where students pay for the bare necessities like water and food and electricity and a bit for upkeep, but it's nothing like the exorbitant rental prices that a lot of students are forced to pay. Well, I suppose the thing that separates me from the other candidates is that I've actually been an office bearer in the union this year, so I've been the queer officer this year, and so that just gives me a lot of experience to draw on. It's sort of like if we were all in a race, by the time they got off the blocks, I'd be halfway down the track, I suppose, with that experience. Ensuring diverse representation, particularly in a university where the vast majority of students here are actually women, to have a ticket that's running less than a majority of women I don't think is particularly representative. In terms of NUS and general members, I believe we're running one general member, female general member candidate, and four NUS. Online education is important. I think I'm still someone who believes in the old form of, personal face-to-face education. In terms of getting textbooks online, while it's a good idea, it's very tricky to do. I think we would prefer to have a policy where we have more textbooks available in the library for students to use, and lowering the cost of course readers and textbooks in particular, I think is a much better way of going about things, because getting textbooks online is, I don't think, very feasible. This year, our Stand Up elected office bearers, Greg and Daniel, have focused very much so on public transport, and I think that would continue on into next year. Public transport is obviously a very big environmental campaign, and with La Trobe, public transport out here is far from adequate. So it would be focusing more on improving public transport, so getting a shuttle bus from McLeod to La Trobe, and extending Zone 1 out to McLeod as well. So that's the main part of our environmental policies. Well, all that paper is completely recycled, and in terms of flyers, we get most of them back at the end of the day when they're put in for people who go to vote, and if we see them around, we make sure to pick them up so they don't go to waste. I am myself queer. I've been the queer officer this year. We're also running a queer student for General Secretary. So we're very passionate about queer representation as well. Our queer candidate, Lisa Goff, is absolutely fantastic. She spoke at the International League Against Homophobia panel that I organised. She's very passionate and very intelligent, and she'd be a great asset to our team. Myself being queer and being queer officer, obviously queer issues are always going to be close to my heart. University life, I think, is important to most students in terms of ensuring that you have a campus that is both fun and accessible, and while you're not doing your studies. University should be a place where you want to stay, where you want to come to, where you want to see your friends, where you want to hang out. Even while you're not studying, it should become a huge part of your life. So I think university life is very important, and university politics are always going to be there in the background, but I think university politics is sort of a way of facilitating a better university life. Absolutely. With the introduction of the Student Services and Amenities Fee, the union has an enormous opportunity to expand and grow and to continue building upon what we do. So now more than ever, this election is probably one of the most important we've had in years, because of that introduction of that new fee and that new source of revenue that we can use to build and use effectively and use it for students. So yeah, absolutely, I think it's very important.